All right, it's time for our next session. Our next session is entitled Chatbot and Human-to-Human Transition. This session will be led by Rich Hultman. He's the Senior UX Manager, Services and Strategic Growth Officer. Rich Hultman is a UX professional with over 20 years of experience leading design and the implementation of online experiences for some of the world's top brands, including Best Buy, Target, General Electric, Thomson Reuters, Motorola, 3M, McGraw-Hill, and Sprint. He currently leads Best Buy's UX services team, increasing online revenue through user experiences such as chat, scheduling, service estimators, product configurators, and self-serve repair. Please join me in welcoming Rich to the stage.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. I tend to speak loud too sometimes, so I never know whether the mic's on or off. One of the things, I always like to get the audience engaged when we get started, so I love the runes where he took the photograph of the team, so I'd like to take a photograph of the team because I'm going to steal that. So I'll start with that real quickly. And part of it is just the fact that I have to prove to my product owners that I was actually here. So. Okay, so we've got that. So then my next ask is if somebody could take a picture of me so that I can prove that I was actually up at the stage and then send it to me. Somebody doesn't mind doing that for me, that'd be great. So again, excited to be here, appreciate it. You probably hear more about Best Buy in the news now, positively, hopefully, than we were 4 years ago when I started. How many here believe that Best Buy still exists and is an entity? Okay. Has anybody bought anything at Best Buy recently? Okay. And what was that? Just you bought a phone? Okay. Anybody else? What did you buy? I was just curious.
Laptop.
Oh, you bought a laptop. Okay. So phones and laptops happen to be one of our biggest areas. Laptops is one of those areas that I actually work in. So I will go ahead and go to the next slide. I started at Best Buy about 4 years ago. When I started there, things like artificial intelligence, chatbots, and those things weren't really on our radar. Last year, we have these internal, what we call science fairs, where we have our teams that actually are working on projects, and then they actually present the projects that they were working on. We had, as of last year, we had over 15 teams that were working on some type of artificial intelligence, machine learning, or chatbot type things. It's amazing on how quickly that actually even changed within our organization. Because my first job when I came to Best Buy was to basically move Geek Squad, everybody knows who Geek Squad is, right? Was to move Geek Squad experiences off of geeksquad.com and integrate that into the Best Buy platform. That was a journey in itself, and I'm a big believer in journeys. When I actually studied to become into the field, I, like many individuals, I think Arun had mentioned it, and he had said, that you go through an occupational transition. So I'm a big believer, even as a UX person, whether you're in technology or UX, that continuing learning is absolutely critical. I started out where I wanted to become a visual designer, I wanted to be able to do commercial photography, and I wanted to learn computer science. So I took, my first class was in C. I think I got a C in that class in C, so. Unfortunately. I got an A in visual design, so that's where I decided to start. With that journey, I built the foundations there of certain things that I felt that were important. And in 1999, I started a commercial agency to actually shoot digital photography. So we were shooting in 1999, I purchased a digital back, which was able to shoot a 60 to an 80 megabyte file directly to a computer. And that's where I kind of fell in love with technology and realized that I really truly had that space in technology. From there, we quickly did a lot of catalogs, print catalogs. This was for companies, and then they realized they had these catalogs and we had all the stuff digital. Can we make those into e-commerce? And that's where I started to find my space in e-commerce. So in the early 2010s, I was burnt out of the agency business and decided that I was going to go work for corporate America. And I was lucky enough, believe it or not, everybody know where Minnesota is? Yep, okay, good. All right, we have people from Minnesota here? No, okay, that's okay. It's cold there, just like most people think. So luckily, all these companies exist in Minnesota, and they have corporate headquarters there. And I was lucky enough to be influenced by these companies in my UX journey. But I can't do those today. I've been at Best Buy for 4 years. This is my current team. They do all the work. They say that I take most of the credit for it. I think that's okay. You'll see that most of them, their smiles there, they're smiling. I think most of them look forced, but they are smiling. This is my product team. They're all smiling because they're the ones who come up with the product roadmaps. Though we sit in the same area, so we work closely with them. And we work on services, we work on many experiences. We're an organization of about 40 UX people at Best Buy. We Services is one of 4 UX teams that is in the digital space. And Services manages things like chat. We have 2 chat experiences that we design for. We have in-home advisors where advisors come out and we do all the scheduling for that. We do repair services, so you can basically schedule your repair services online. And we manage what is called Total Tech Support, which is a technology membership support program. The actual remote services application has been around for 10 years. So what this application has been known as the Geek Squad chat application, and it allows agents to remotely service customers. So 24/7, 365, you can speak with an agent and get your computer, you can get technical support or get your computer repaired. So when we moved it over to Best Buy, it was on geeksquad.com, we were servicing, I'd say, thousands of customers. When we moved it over, the agents were concerned because the site gets a lot of traffic. Now we're managing hundreds of thousands of customers. So this page alone, which is the interface, gets about 450,000 views a month. There's about 2,000 searches within our search bar just for chat alone. Once you've connected in here, the application is a fairly robust application. It allows the agents not only to triage, but you can actually get remote support, connect remotely with an agent, and you can actually purchase services through here. So this is an example. My use case was I received an email from a friend. Looked like it was from a friend. It was hacked. It had an attachment in it. I opened it up. It appeared to be a virus. I panicked, like most people who open up emails. I quickly went onto Best Buy site because I knew they could do this remotely, interfaced with an agent. I actually needed computer tune-up work at the same time. So I was actually able to purchase a Total Tech Support plan right through this application. And then the agent was able to remotely get into my computer and then repair that. Great application. Problem is about 60% of the traffic that comes to that page is for people who are looking for things like store hours, where's my order. So once we put it on there, you get the 450,000 views. The first objective of business is like, how can we deflect this traffic? So we talk a lot about deflection, which is a term in UX we don't like a lot. We call it routing. We like to call it routing, so we mask that. But these are some of the objectives that we were trying to solve in the short term. So first was shorter interaction time for customers. And I always kind of compare this to what I call the boiling water kind of scenario. So when you get onto the chat page, you have to enter your email address. You get into a queue. Depending upon whether it's a Friday night and everybody is online, it could take up to 3 to 4 minutes to connect with an agent. So the chatbot would actually allow people to self-serve a little bit so we know why you're coming. So you're not looking at the boiling pot of water. You're still in our queue. We can help you out. Then there's what I call the self-help objective. I'm a believer in this. I want to be able to get help or help myself out without necessarily having that, what I'll say, emotional connection right away, because I feel like maybe I'm going to be sold something. So if I can kind of help myself out, and then once I'm at the point where I am stuck, then I want to be able to tap out and get to an agent. And then obviously the chatbot obviously will obviously track your path, right? So the things that you've clicked through. So now the agents actually have an idea when a customer connects in via live, that they know your path and have at least some context of why you're coming there. Are you coming there? Did you look at store hours and then did you tap live chat? Did you click computer help? And are you now in? Now we know that you need computer help. And then obviously efficiency and deflection are some of the big things. One of the reasons that we were getting all the traffic is we do have what I call the shopping app, and I'll show that here quickly too, is that the link in the our taxonomy isn't too complex. We actually have a fairly short taxonomy for a big e-commerce company. But if you tap into services, you'll see chat with an agent. So people are getting to that landing page real quickly, and that's why we get a lot of traffic there. Today, that still stays the same. We still want people to go through there from a services because we're trying to promote our services program. So most people know that Best Buy does computer repair, right? What other services do you think Best Buy does? Did you know that do you know that we do car electronics, install remote starts? Anybody know that? Car stereos? Okay, so you did know that. Not too many people know that though. So the navigation for chatbots is an advantage for us to be able to promote those services. Those things are kind of hard to find on an e-commerce site, and particularly most people who are coming to an e-commerce site are coming to buy things, and then services is kind of that second thought of that process. We do, in the UX, we actually do a lot of research, and we have a lot of close connections with our business operations team, which is our Geek Squad operation team. So the UX team gets to do what we call virtual ride-alongs and watch how the agents and customers interact so that we can understand what really the true customer need is. So things like we hear is, show me my store hours without having to search extensively. Where's my latest order? So believe it or not, today, if you're logged in, you can tap order status and we can show you that. We can actually show you your latest order right in chat. Then we also, along with product, we are all of our teams sit together within services. So I have 3 engineering teams. This is my chat team. And we actually get in a room generally with no clocks and no windows, as you'll notice there. So, and then I'm the guy who draws a lot, so I get to draw up on the board. And Michael, who is one of our he's our lead front-end developer. He is our philosopher, so he's always questioning anything that I'm drawing on whether it's relevant or not. But he is one of the engineers that I think we've talked about that he questions a lot. And it makes you think about, from a UX standpoint, if you are really truly applying the proper UX solution. So this was our first iteration for Chatbot. It was actually for the remote chat for the remote chat application. The shopping app took it second. From analytics and from business feedback, the things that 60% that we were running into were store hours. Computer help we surfaced right up immediately so that you could still get the computer help. Order status, so you saw that example of order status, and then account questions were a lot that came through. So for example, if you tap in store hours, we'll locate the top closest stores to you. You can actually type in the city and state or a zip code and get those. So if you're not in New York and you want to look at what the store is in California, we can surface those, and then you can click into those and you can get to those experiences. So again, large e-commerce. That's not what e-commerce sites are made. They're made to sell things. So the chat, I believe, is one of those great ways of being able to search and find things quickly for that quick help. Don't judge on this page. We're redesigning this, but this is when you type in computer help. So the application, I did design this 3 years ago when we were a smaller team. And we are going through a branding effort. So this is getting an update, but if you type in computer help, you will be able to get the top things that are in for computer services, and you can always tap out to a live agent. And then once you tap out to a live agent, then that path can be sent as a whisper to the agent so that they can see the paths that you went through. Let's see, we have about halfway through. So chat for shopping. So this is the second application that we have. It did not have a chatbot in it. It is, Geek Squad Remote is 24/7, 365, so we have agents there for you all the time. This application is a customer care application. So it's supported by a different, actually, operations center. So we have 2 operations centers, Geek Squad, and then we have customer care. Customer care is only available during store hours. So most of the time when people are shopping, which is when you come home from work, which is 8 o'clock probably on, there isn't an agent available. So this was soon after we proved the value of deflection and quick self-help. This was the next desire to have this for the shopping, basically the shopping chat. Now, before we actually did this, one of our biggest problems is we did have the shopping chat was there before. It was kind of hidden, hard to find, because we didn't want you to use it because we weren't there most of the time. But the goal was, before we actually put Chatbot in so that it would be available 24/7, just like Geek Squad was to get those 2 centers together. So whether you were in shopping or whether you were in remote support, you could transparently get back and forth between the 2 without you being worried about it. That was our job to get that through. So there is a Nielsen-Norman study on this, hiding your chat application. So we're in the process of moving this out right now. Right now it's within a tab, and there's a little chat, it's a basically help tab. There is a little link there that hits chat. When you hit that, it will launch the application. And this application has our new brand to it. So we recently, did anybody know that we actually updated our logo? Yes, no? So I'm always interested in brand love. So it seems like when we do usability, when I was at Target, we do usability all the time, and the first thing that people say, oh, we love Target, we love Target. They'd always get the brand love. We do usability at Best Buy, and they'd be like, I don't like this. This is great. I love Geek Squad. I love Geek Squad, but they never ever say anything. So I'm always interested to know. So we are implementing, obviously, we're the kind of the blue and the yellow people, but one of the things that we actually focus on in our brand a lot these days is what we call the human element. So one of the first things that we actually use in the top bar is the word hello, just as an introduction. It does identify that it is a virtual agent. And one of the things that we're proving out right now for our proof of concept is, depending on what page you're on, if you're on an appliance page, we're going to ask you about appliance-oriented things. So we want to be able to understand, at least in these early stages, the intents that we're building, and it is routing-oriented, are these the things that people are clicking on and that they want. So you can still type within the field, but we're giving you these routing options to kind of get started. So like most large e-commerce companies, we have these in-depth marketing pages which do great from an SEO standpoint. We need to have these on there because they drive a lot of traffic. But these are the links that have all the information about the products that you want to learn about. And these are what we call buying guides. So one of the things when we were re-envisioning services that I met with the CTO, he said, Rich, I want you to think about re-envisioning services. He goes, we spent all this money on buying guides and nobody can find them. So we actually found a way to get people to them. It's our first step, and it's still not 100% what you would want from a user experience. I think a guided buying experience within chat is really where we're moving towards, so that you can stay within that. But today we're using the technologies of the things that we have. Car electronics, for example, most people wouldn't know about that, but if you typed in car electronics, you could actually get this from Chatbot. And within car electronics, you can actually do many different things. You can actually ask for information on actually consultation and installation services. So one of the things that we have is we have a car fit guide, so we can drive you to our car fit guide, so you can basically log in your information, so when you're on a page, you'll know whether this remote start actually fits your car or not. Purchase and protection plans is a big thing with these products too. So this is actually surfaced up. And then we are working on, this is our first shot at what we'll call the active intents. So we want to know whether people are finding these things valuable. We are also working, I think I heard one of the other talks that emojis are becoming the big thing. So we are actually surfacing throughout the experience and upcoming events of people being able to like things as they're going through the process. And I'm a little bit ahead of schedule. But the one thing one thing that I'm very passionate about that I wanted to share was I'm a big believer in chat. And this is kind of our first step into it. And I'm a big believer in going through the journey. So as you're developing these with product owners or user experience individuals, it's understanding those journeys. And I always believe that there's two types of journeys. There's what we call the safaris, and then there is the learned path. And the safari is the first time that you've ever gone through the experience. So when you're building an experience, doesn't matter whether it's Chatbot or whatever experience it is, the first time a user goes through that path is a different experience than when they go through the second time and they've learned this. So one of the examples I always used is in my UX certification. We were at the Nielsen Norman Group, and one of our exercises was to go to lunch at Water Tower Place in downtown Chicago. So has anybody ever gone to the cafeterias that is at Water Tower Place in downtown Chicago? It's like going through a museum. So our goal was there was 5 of us on the team that had to go basically document that journey and then come back with recommendations on how to improve the experience. So 5 of us went, 4 of us got in line. It's like going through a museum there. You have to go through all these different lines. The first one we went through, there were no prices anywhere within that cafeteria. So we went in, we walked out, we're like, that's craziness. So the next one we went into, we decided that we were gonna sit down. We had to walk through all these gates to get back there, and then by the time we finally got to the end, they said it was gonna take 30 minutes to get a table. Said, oh, can't do that. So then we came back out. The next one we came through, we actually had to get in line to get a ticket to be able to get into the line for the cafeteria. And then once we got into the line, once we had the ticket, then we had to get in the line. Then they routed us to the area where we'd get a table. So then we get a table, and they had this flip chart where you would put, oh, okay, now your table's reserved. And once we had that table, then we could pick from any different place that we could go to eat. They had anything from all different types of food that you could eat. So we all went to different areas. So you go up, they give you this card, so we didn't pay for anything. So you have to go up, pick your food, they swipe your card, it goes on your card, and when you're done eating, then you go out to the cashier and pay. We're like, this is craziness. I'm like, anybody could leave. So we got back, we're doing affinity mapping, and saying, oh, how we can improve this craziness, this crazy experience, besides the fact that there's just, during lunchtime in Water Tower Place, it's just the amount of people is insane there. So one of our individuals decided that he wasn't going to eat because that was the third place that we already went. So he went in and interviewed everybody that was there. So he comes back with all these Post-it notes of like why everybody loved it. We're like, what cafeteria did you go to? You didn't go to the same one we did. And what it was is the first time we went through that was our safari. So the first time we went through it, we found all these bad things, right? But the people who went back there were a lot of people who had families. They could take their families there, so they could send the kids off to go get chicken fingers, and then the adults could go get Thai food, right? So everybody could get everything that they wanted, and at the end they paid for it, right? Again, that was that learn journey that went through. So when you're building these experiences, it's very important to understand that safari and the learn journey. And I would encourage, as you're building these experiences, to document your own journeys as you do these things. Because you'll find out when you do these things, if you're going to go buy a refrigerator, we'll say at Best Buy, because we sell a lot of refrigerators. How many times you buy a refrigerator in your life? Not too many times. So if you were to buy that refrigerator and you were to document that journey and understand the process that you went through, so what happens is most people, they buy a refrigerator, it's the first thing you're going to do. It's the first thing you're going to do when you're thinking about buying a refrigerator. Consumer reports? Yeah, you check out reports. You're going to probably go online and do research first. Are you going to purchase it the first time? No. What are you going to do next?
Bring my wife to open it up, take it.
You can go to a store, right? So most people, 80% of the people, search online first, right? That's the first thing that they do. Second thing that they do is they go to 2 stores. And then they'll either buy at that second store or they'll leave. So understanding that path and when that consumer is going to purchase is absolutely critical. Now, to me, right, so I'll search online, I'll do that, right? I'll look at consumer reports. I'll go to store. I want to open it. The one that I looked at, the first store I went to, they had, it was the Viking. They have the Viking $10,000 refrigerator, right? I'm like, $10,000 for a refrigerator? Oh my goodness. And the agent, the black shirt there, Pacific Sales, says, well, you only have to buy it once. I'm like, I hope so. I only have to buy this once. That's a safari in itself. But again, so then you come back home, right? You may go to Warner Stellian or the next one. And then at that point, now you're getting ready to buy. But if you go home, at that point, I'm ready to, I could buy anywhere. It doesn't matter. I could buy online. I could go back in the store. If I have to go back in the store, and I'm not being pinged at that point, and they can sell it to me, I'm ready to go. So if I go into the store and you figure out what I want, that's where I want to go. I actually purchased a water heater via chat the exact same way. So I did my research. I actually called my plumber up. I wanted a water heater that had Wi-Fi in it because I wanted to be able to control the hot water heater while I was gone. It takes up 25% of your energy, by the way, in your home. Hot water heater does. So having a Wi-Fi one, then you put it on a schedule, will save you a few dollars. Called the plumber. He's like, Wi-Fi? What? No, we don't do that. I'm like, well, I know they exist. He's like, well, if you can get the Wi-Fi going. I'm like, I can get the Wi-Fi going. So I went to the big box store to go. I knew that they had a Wi-Fi hot water heater in there. Went and talked to them. The store was the same thing. Wi-Fi? I'm like, well, you have them right over here. He's like, I don't know. They're like, we don't know anything about them. So I'm like, chat. At Geek Squad, we've got the best of the best in chat. They have to be able to tell me. So I went on the home retailers website to home improvement companies, chatting with them. Of course, I get the lady who knows everything about hot water heaters. Perfect, right? So it wasn't a chatbot, but it was a chat experience. So next thing, I tell her what I'm looking for in general. I have no idea on how to put gas in or anything. That's what I need my plumber to do, right? But I'm like, I need a 50-gallon tank. I want to have Wi-Fi in it. I said, this is kind of what I'm looking for. She passes me a link. Boom, I'm on that page. She's like, this is what you need. I hit add to cart. It's now in cart, right? And I said, I need the Wi-Fi unit. She's like, well, you have to add that from the other page. So she passes me the link. Boom, add it to cart. I'm like, drain pan, 19-inch, 24-inch. I said, I don't really know what I want. So she surfaces a couple of them up, plastic and aluminum. I said, I want the aluminum one. Click that, add to cart. Now she passes, everything's in cart. I go to cart. This didn't take more than 5 to 10 minutes. I need warranty plan. Boom, I purchased it. I purchased that completely through chat. Now, if you think about that from an experience standpoint, the individual is very knowledgeable about what I needed and what I'm looking for. But that actually is that guided buying experience that can happen. And understanding how that happens in your real life will enable you to be able to make those experiences better. So I have a minute. I guess I'll leave it for questions. Yeah. Sorry? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
So as you made improvements to your chatbot,
Yeah.
what impact did you see that having on your customers' utilization of that versus other support channels?
I would say at this point we're still learning. We're in that MVP stage, and my team is still getting the information back. It's only been about a year since we've had it in, and we would like to be as agile and quick as possible. But as of today, we're just getting that information back. But from a deflection standpoint or routing standpoint, it is helping people. One of the things I would like to see happen within a chat experience is rather than going to buying guides, I'd rather have building experiences. So if, for example, Wi-Fi is a complicated thing for me and for most people, right? If I'm looking to upgrade my Wi-Fi system, could I create that guided buying experience in chat? Possibly. But could you drive me to an experience where I could build the best Wi-Fi system ever? Those are the kinds of things and when we've built those things in the past, we've had, the most difficult thing that we've had is having people find those. Because normally they're built as one-page JavaScript applications in general, and our SEO team doesn't like trying to SEO those pages, so we build lots of crazy marketing pages to try to get people to those experiences.
I was wondering, how did you figure out what were the most popular topics? Like you said, the store hours, other things.
Yeah.
Was it text analysis or interviewing customer support, or?
It was a little bit of both. It was we do the remote ride-alongs with customers, so a lot of that information comes from our agent operations team. So we have a team that works with. We have 20,000 agents that work across all the teams. Not all of them are online, but we do have a good subset of them. And then it was, I would say, a lot of business need to get started. And we did vary that list to get started. That list that you saw wasn't the first iteration of that list. It was probably about the fourth iteration. Yeah. Thanks.
All right, it's time
Yeah,
for
okay.
our afternoon break. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Yeah. And then if anybody can send me a photo, that would be awesome. I'd love that.